So ever since I heard the Tinker Mask was coming out, I was thinking of a way that I could use it to improve maybe a few of the builds I made in the past, or maybe even try something new. And I remember this season when it came out, people were asking me, yo, Skills, do you have a rifle build you would use this season? And well, now I do. This thing is an absolute monster. I've hit up to almost 3 million damage per shot, which is pretty insane to see on the automatic rifles that we currently have. Now, not every rifle is automatic, but there are a few that you just hold down the trigger and it will continuously fire. And well, the Urban MDR is one of those. That's why it's actually one of my favorite high-end rifles to use, because it allows me to put out continuous damage without having to tap the trigger over and over. Now, this was a big change that they made not too long ago, and it's one of the main reasons rifles are actually back in the meta talks. Now, let's get into the build, because I know a lot of you guys are asking questions what I'm running, and I'll also show you more gameplay. So yes, we are running the Tinker Mask. And why is the Tinker Mask so good? Well, it gives you all reds, so this is how we wanted to run this build. We have all reds on this build. Weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, and we have a crit damage mod. And then we have a talent called a bridge. If your primary and secondary weapons are non-exotics or name and of the same type, the secondary weapon talents will also be applied to the primary. You do need to be making sure that you are using your primary. And you can actually tell that you'll have the symbol, the alpha bridge symbol in yellow if it's on and red if it's off. So you cannot be using this and proc this. It needs to be in this slot 1, and then 2 will activate there. That's how it works. It will not work on both. We are going to be running rifles. So for this one, we're gonna need the Urban MDR, and we are going to have the LVOAC. You can run any secondary rifle you want. You just need it for the talent, because obviously, by now you guys know we are running the Tinker Mask. So for the Urban MDR, we're gonna have 293,000 total damage, 380 RPM. We're gonna have 80% headshot damage, and then we do have 25% expertise into this. You can run this at 5, 10, 15, whatever you want, and you'll still see the damage numbers up there, because you already saw we were hitting up to close to 2.8 million at some points. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how much damage this could put out. We have rifle damage, crit damage, and damage to targets out of cover. Ideally, these are the 3 roles that you guys are going to want, because you're going to want to be able to rotate the talents as you go. Now, I've been using Rifleman and Boomerang. Both are actually really good. Rifleman requires you to land more headshots, so landing headshots adds a stack bonus of plus 10% weapon damage for 5 seconds. Now the max stack is 5, so that means that you could have up to 50% weapon damage for 5 seconds. Now additional headshots will constantly refresh this. And if you're struggling to get headshots, you guys can actually use Boomerang, and I'll show you guys what that one does just in case. Critical hits have a 50% chance to return the bullet to the magazine. If a bullet is returned, you gain 40% increased damage. So if you guys are struggling to get headshots, well, Boomerang might be a better way for you, because we do have a lot of crit chance on this build. So we are going to be hitting a lot of crits. For the mods, I do have the optic rail, 30% stability for the scope. We have 20 rounds in the magazine. We have 30% stability in the underbarrel and 30% accuracy on the muzzle. If you guys feel like you guys want to add some more headshot damage, whatever you guys can go ahead and swap that however you want. Again, for the LVOAC, you can run whatever you want, but I am going to be running the talent killer. Killing an enemy with a critical hit grants 70% critical damage for 10 seconds. So not only are we getting increased weapon damage with Rifleman, we're also getting increased critical hit damage with killer. So this is actually a great combo on a crit build. For the chest piece, we went with a Cheska chest piece. The reason why, because we wanted that extra crit chance on this build, because this is a crit build. We have weapon damage, critical hit chance, and critical hit damage on here. And then I went with obliterate, because critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, stacking up 20 times. Now you can swap this out however you want, but with the crit build, I feel like this talent just works so good, and we're getting that additional 20% extra weapon damage on the build. So we are running a Zoo holster. We do have a 2-piece. It's gonna give us 15% magazine size and 20% rifle damage. We have weapon damage, crit damage, and crit chance on here. And again, we are gonna be stacking a lot of crit and a lot of crit damage on this build. For the knee pads, we're going with the meta knee pads that work with rifles, because it is Foxberry. It does give us 10% rifle damage. We get weapon damage, we get 8% damage targets out of cover, and then we get 12% critical hit damage. So on this build, we're gonna have 18% critical hit damage because we have 8% and then 10% from the weapon. And then for our second piece of zoo, we're going with the gloves that gives us 20% rifle damage. We have weapon damage, crit damage, and crit chance. For the backpack, we are going with the Grupo Sombra. That's gonna give us 13% critical hit damage. We have 15% weapon damage on here, crit chance, crit damage, and critical hit damage. We have Unstoppable Force. Now you can put Unstoppable Force here, or you guys can go with Vigilance. I personally like Unstoppable Force because I will be getting kills so quick because I have so much damage on this build. So killing an enemy increases your total weapon damage by 5% for 15 seconds. So that does stack up to 5 times. So that's 25% weapon damage. Now you could go with Vigilance, but remember, if you take any damage, it does go on cooldown. So that is the big difference between the two, but Unstoppable Force I feel works really good with this build because I am hitting so hard, I am getting those kills, so Unstoppable Force is very easy to proc. And you can also kill drones and stuff like that, and it will continue to proc that for you. So it just constantly refreshes. And Unstoppable Force, Vigilance, there's no wrong answer for this build. So I am running Smart Cover for this build. You guys can run whatever you want. If you guys want to run a decoy, I like the Smart Cover because we do have duration and damage targets out of cover on here. So on this, we are going to be having 14% damage targets out of cover, plus we get 15% weapon handling when I am in cover. Definitely a win-win for me. If you guys want to run with the decoy, you can. And then I do have a hive just to pick me up if I go down. So we do have 54% crit chance on this build, 182%, almost 183% critical hit damage, 80% headshot damage. Now we do have 18% damage targets out of cover, but if we are in cover, we'll get additional 14% damage targets out of cover when we are using our Smart Cover. We do have 72% armor on kill because we are running the gunner class, but you guys can pick whatever class you want there. But that is the build right there. Again, if you guys want to increase the damage even more, you can spam the busy little bee a little bit more, and then you can swap to your weapon and just pull out a ton of damage. But yeah, this is the build. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I put a build like this out a while back, but I think with the Tinker Mask, it really takes it to that next level. Now remember, like I did say, if you guys want to use something like Boomerang because you guys aren't landing as many headshots and you guys aren't proccing Rifleman, well, Boomerang isn't a great option because remember, most likely you will be getting those crits, and when you do, you'll get that extra 40% weapon damage. So that's just something for you guys to keep in mind. If you guys aren't happy with the way Rifleman is working for you, well, you can swap it around. And I'll tell you, I was very surprised when I did run it in Master difficulty in a group. I had the most kills and the most damage, which was actually pretty cool to see because I wasn't sure if it would be able to keep up with some of the other DPS builds in the game. And well, with the new Tinker Mask and being able to put out an insane amount of damage, it does just that. It works just as good as before, but now it's even better with the Tinker Mask. Now, one thing I did want to show you guys is at the range with full stacks and with Smart Cover, you're gonna be surprised. I was hitting 3.2 million with everything fully procced, which is actually pretty cool because the Urban MDR shoots so fast. Now, can you imagine this in group play and your teammates giving you some type of buff? The damage can just get even higher, which is actually really good for the Urban MDR. I gotta know in the comments what has been your favorite build to use with the newest exotic, the Tinker Mask, and what talent combos are you really enjoying? But I'm gonna wrap this one up. If you guys found this video useful, leave a thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey, Nothing But Skills is out.